Welcome to class, everybody. Today we are going to be doing three major things, but most of the time we're focusing on revising your open letter. So for those of you who are not in class, I just want to go over some housekeeping things with you for most of this video. The first one is, if you were not here last time, we created 3 accounts in turnitin.com. This is a place where you will upload major assignments for me to grade, give you feedback on. If you were not here on Wednesday of last week, you will need to go to that site, again, turnitin.com, and enroll in the appropriate class section using the course admission number and the enrollment key, which is kind of like a password term that I have listed for each class. So make sure that you've done that. Again, if you were not here last time, we uploaded your Heart Songs assignment to Turnitin. So go in and take care of that. Your date is going to be late, but I will check if you were not here last time and, of course, give you permission to take care of that today. The second thing, your English 2010 page for your ePortfolio. So there are a couple of ways to do that depending on what type of platform you use to create your web page. If you used Turnitin, I want you to go to the coursework section of your ePortfolio and create a new page for this class like you created a new page for English 1010. Once you have set up that English 2010 page, right now it's going to look really lame because I only want you on that page to have 3 ways that I can access sources. So the first one will be major assignments. This is where you're going to be putting things like your open letter, your profile or memoir, your report, your video performances and stuff later on. The next one will be a fun assignment that we will begin in Unit 2 and continue through the rest of the course called Writer's Notebook. I like to think of Writer's Notebook as more of a creative assignment and more of a visual assignment where you look at pictures and images and art and design as part of a packaged presentation thing. So anyway, we haven't started that yet, but I want you to use a Google document and entitle it, create a Google's document in Google Doc, entitled it Writer's Notebook, even though we haven't done anything to it. And then on your English 2010 page, write the word Writer's Notebook and turn it into a hyperlink to that page that you will set up. So once we begin those notebook activities, I think there are like 8 of them throughout the rest of the semester. All I'll have to do is click on your Writer's Notebook and look for whatever activity we're doing. Finally, your learning log. You will not be printing out your starters this semester. They're going to be put into your English website. So the first one will actually be uploaded on Thursday, since today is our last learning log for Unit 1, and you created a Google Doc for your learning log, and just make sure that the word learning log hyperlinks to that Google Doc. In fact, I would call your that page right now learning log number 1, since there are going to be other learning log activities we will do, but this assignment you will complete today. We'll just go to that assignment. So create that page. If you used Digication, your English 2010 page is already embedded into your ePortfolio, so you'll need to open up your ePortfolio, go to that 2010 page, and I think when you get there it will show a signature assignment and a reflection. You're going to keep the reflection part there, but I want you to delete the signature assignment page, because we're going to upload more than one thing to your 2010 page. We're going to upload lots of things. So once you're there, then create a text box with these 3 words again: major assignments, writer's notebooks, learning logs, that turn into hyperlinks to the same types of assignments that you have. I told the kids in class first period, and we'll do with my other 2 sections today, that a lot of students have chosen to put their major assignments on a Google Slides presentation, because when we get into our other major assignments with more of design as part of it rather than looking like a paper, it's easier to manipulate, move pictures around and stuff like that in Google Slides. But if you're really desktop savvy and you have desktop programming, other tools, you can use those as well. Just make sure that I can access them on my computer. So set up your page so that these assignments that are coming in this week will now be attached to your ePortfolio. The third thing we're doing is going to the lab and printing a copy of your really good open letter draft at this point, and we will be using it in class for the rest of the class period. So your final learning log for Unit 1 is an article that comes from Section 5 of Pressbook. It's article number 17, and it's entitled "Revision is Rewriting, That Is All." This article goes through 7 things that you can do internally to revise your paper. And it's 7 or 8. And one of them ask you to get feedback from other students, which we will be doing in class. If you are at home, find someone that you can share your document with and get feedback. So anyway, you're going to read this article, and she uses an analogy of a famous writer, James Joyce, who in the latter part of his life is writing a novel entitled Finnegan's Wake. And the story takes place in Africa, and as he was reading his draft, or as much as he could read his draft because he was going blind at the time, he felt like the words were not right for feeling like the reader was in Africa. So he actually went back on 2 additional occasions and just spent time in Africa and rewrote his draft. I actually included that visual that you'll see on this slide is actually one of his pages of notes from this book of that he wrote. And you can see, talk about revision. There's just so much there. And if any of you, go to that extensive revision or make your rough draft look like that on a page, that is so impressive that you're not satisfied with what you have so far and how you could make it better. So anyway, she uses that as an analogy, but then she gets into these subtopics that I would like you to stop and pause. We're actually going to be using the Pressbook article a lot longer in class. So find 2 aha statements from the beginning of her article, record them in your learning log, and then with each of the 7 or 8 subtopics, type the topic on your learning log entry for today, and then go back to your draft and practice what she teaches you of things that you can do internally with your open letter that way. And then record what you're noticing about your draft in your learning log entry. Then go to the second section, do the same thing. When one of the section asks for feedback, you will need to find someone to give you some feedback. I wrote on here number 5 and 7, but that might not be correct. Anyway, so in class we're actually spend about 30 minutes with this article and re-looking and refocusing on our draft and giving ourselves feedback on it. So that's one way of revising your open letter. The second way is to get feedback from others. In order to do that, pull out your open letter rubric, go over again what I'm grading on, recognize your strengths and weaknesses. In class, our strengths and weaknesses will be what we'll have a conversation with other students on how ways we can make our open letter better. So they will be sharing with 2 other students and actually writing on the student's draft of the open letter to give them feedback. And then from when they get their feedback, they're actually going back to their Pressbook article response as part of their learning log and filling in the comments from other students. So that's another way of revising your draft. A third way that I want you to think about revising your draft is through editing. I have a bunch of resources here that will help you clean up your essay a lot more. The first one is a link to the MLA website, so you can go there and find out what your paper needs to look like and how to cite things, all that fun stuff. The BYU Style Academy, if you feel like your sentences are weak, you can click on it and pick any number of videos to watch. They are short. We'll actually use them as activities in our I think it's our next unit for our learning log entries and how to craft more fluent sentences. So that's a way that you can clean up your writing. The next one is a link to formatting your paper. You can look at it and make sure yours looks the same. If you are wondering how to do any kind of citations, so with your open letter, I do want you to have a citation page. I ask you to find 4 sources. I certainly don't expect you to use all 4 sources because this isn't a research paper. This is your educated insights about a situation that you want addressed by a general or specific public. But you can, and I want you to at least use one quote or one idea from someone else's work and weave it into your writing, and then cite that and other sources if you have other sources. So that will tell you how to cite things. And then the final one, Real Grammar WordPress, is a great resource for if you're thinking, I'm quite not unsure how to do apostrophes or commas or whatever your weakness is, or how to capitalize what you don't. So it's very user-friendly and can answer a lot of quick questions. So go through your essay that way between now and Thursday. And then finally, I went back to slide 4. I want you to, the part that says remember your open letter will be submitted to turn it in, and I put on here on Wednesday, but it is on Thursday. Bring a hard copy to class, or we will go to the lab and print one if you don't have a printer. We will also upload into your major assignment section of your ePortfolio. And finally, we will also upload your learning log entries for Unit 1 to your ePortfolio for me to grade. So we've got a lot of things coming in as we wrap up this unit on entering the conversation with communications and open and letter writing. So that's what we were doing today. And between now and Thursday, focus your attention on getting a really good open letter written, and we will begin a new unit on Thursday. So hopefully this helps. Thank you.